Hey, it's Todd Duncan. Welcome to this year and welcome to our first strategy session of the year. I actually recorded this several weeks ago because I was talking with my branding assistant, David Paley, and we were talking about what's a great message to send out on a strategy session. And he said, as he looked at the Christmas tree and the presents, he said, presents. So I got to thinking, okay, presents, and then I got to thinking about presence and being present. So I thought I would do a little takeoff on this. First of all, I grabbed this present. I haven't opened it yet. Well, actually, as you're viewing this, I would have opened it, but when I recorded it, it wasn't open. But it's from my wife, and it says Tiger, which is one of my nicknames. Let's make all of our dreams come true one by one. And so that is a gift that my wife set up for me. And as I was thinking about presents, I just stared down at that and I saw the inscription, and I thought, you know, that's a great way to start off a strategy session. Let's make all of our dreams and goals come true one at a time, one goal at a time. And that's really what success is all about. But then when you think about presence and you think about the gift element of presence, we give presents all year long to the people that we know, love, and trust. And if we're not giving enough presence, and I use that in the form of value, then there's this kind of oddity that begins to develop, and the very people that we know, love, and trust begin to take us for granted. And so one of the illustrations that I want to make in this strategy session is to really have you answer the question, how much value am I creating in the form of presence for my clients on a regular basis? What are the small things I could be doing? How am I packaging those things small? What are the larger things I'm doing? How could I package those things large? And even without packaging per se, which is part of the intrigue, right, of a present, what could I do to just be in a present mode in giving value on a regular basis? About 4 weeks ago, I completed our masterclass event. We had 70 people at that event, and we were talking about the 10X factor and the idea that when you sit down with a real estate agent or sit down with a borrower or sit down with a person that you desire to do business with, and you conduct a gap analysis, which is essentially where people are and where they want to go, whatever you can do to stand in that gap and give a present of value, some knowledge, some consumable, moment of contact and content that can help that person improve in a given area is kind of the theme behind a present. The second thing, though, that is important about presence is when you change the spelling and we get rid of the present, the ENTS, and we get into the presence, right? And the being there and being present in a conversation, being present in a dialogue, being present in an interview. And one of the things that I know about the idea of connecting is that you can't connect deeply unless you are present in a conversation. In Life on the Wire, I wrote about the idea of full engagement. And what full engagement means is that wherever you are, be there. The presence is required of you in any dialogue, in any moment in time that you're with another person, that you are wanting to deepen a relationship, deepen a connection, deepen the level of trust. There is a requirement for your presence to be there and to not be interrupted by texting or phones or emails or even other people scurrying around behind you or on the side of you, or even where they may distract you on the other side of the glass that separates your office from another office or the workplace in general. When we have conversations with the people that we are trying to gain trust with, we have to be looking at our presence in that conversation. Eye contact, is it real and is it thought to be real by the client? Active listening, are we really kind of leaning into the conversation and really hearing what we need to hear? In the form of presence, even the idea of rapport building, having dialogue with a client about the things that are important to them, that's part of being in their presence. When you really ask the questions about what's important to people and where they want to be and where they are, your engagement and being there and really listening and understanding is a great character trait to have. So we have presence in the form of giving. We have presence in the form of value. We have presence in the form of what do people need and what do we give to them. And then we have presence in the form of what kind of connection are we making? What kind of interest are we showing? What kind of attention are we paying? And are we actively listening to that conversation? So when you marry up presence, value, with presence, connection, you have this like magic alchemy, the 1 + 1 = 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now here's the reason why we need to do this. The marketplace is flooded with noise today. The digital world has changed everything in terms of how much stuff is flying at people day in and day out. The reason why a present packaged well is important is it separates from all the noise that's out there. And so one of the reasons why I would ask you to be thinking about packaging, be thinking about branding, be thinking about just the art of giving and how that is put together and addressed and made unique and made different, is because then whenever that is sent or given or delivered, it causes massive separation compared to the competition. The reason why presence is so important, being in the game, being engaged, being connected and asking and listening, is because if I do that, I have separated myself from the competition. It's interesting when we do some of these role plays where agents will go, I've never been asked these questions by a loan officer, or a borrower will say, that's the first time I've ever thought about it that way. See, the coolest thing about that and really connecting and asking the right questions is that right then and there, you separate yourself from the competition. So these two kind of forms of present are really, really critical. And I hope that as you experience this year and as you go forward this year, you're always thinking about present, how am I packaging myself and what am I giving in the form of value? Presence, how connected am I? What kind of questions am I asking? How deep am I going? You put those two things together, man, and I think it's going to be a lights out year for you. So that is our strategy session. Focus on presence and focus on presence, and you're going to have a great year.